All right. Hey, welcome to the Go for CEO channel. Welcome back. And yes, we have another phenomenal guest. I keep on going around my centers of influence, and this gal, well, I've known her since I was a little kid. Basically since my teenage years. She is just a powerhouse. She's a local brand in the Chicagoland area. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun listening to her story and what it takes to really build a business and go for CEO. So, by the way, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up, and then leave a comment for Frances, our guest here. She's the CEO of Ashley's Cafe and Tap, and what an unbelievable interview you're about to hear. So stay tuned, put up the mic, put the volume in, put the earplugs in. I don't care if you're driving, you're walking, you're exercising, you need to listen to this story. So Miss Frances from the Ashley's Cafe and Tap, welcome to the Go for CEO channel.
Thank you, John Paul. Thank you for having me on.
See, and she gets to call me John Paul because only my mom used to call me, but and younger friends.
Yeah, I also call you JP and I call you Buddy. So yeah.
That's right. That's right. So awesome, Frances. Well, hey, look, thanks for coming on. One thing that we like to have our guests kind of just start with is just a little bit of your background,
Sure.
where you came from, what, how you developed, and then, lead us towards basically the kind of the thought pattern of how you started Ashley's Cafe and Tap.
PhD in biological sciences. And then I always had the love of science. And that's kind of what detoured me into corporate. And in corporate, I decided, I like talking and I'm good with people. And the nerd that I am, I ended up being I landed, I think, working for over like 15 years in regulatory. So, and then they found out I was Spanish, and yeah, then I did Latin Global America for a long time. That's my background.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, PhD,
Yep.
no player hating degrees here. Yes.
I'm a nerd at heart. A lot of people don't even see that, but I am.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you're also a beast. I know, obviously, knowing your
Yes.
parents and everything, your background and your
Absolutely.
sister and your brother and everything. So what an incredible family you guys have. So,
Thank you. Thank you, John.
lucky enough to have known you when I was younger, so, and gotten to see you grow, right? So
Yeah.
tell us, right, Ashley's Cafe and Tap. I think from what I know and offline that we just talked about, you're trying to change change this industry, change what comes to.
I definitely want to be a game changer. That's for sure. If somebody that tells me what my hardest job is, honest to God, is being a mom in business and being a woman in business, but definitely a mom. But that being said, I don't think anybody should lose themselves in it. And you need to, I think it's that mom in me of caring that I want to change certain things. And one of the things that I'm here to be, one of the first game changers I want to say, is in the gambling industry right now with the gaming cafes. It was something that we have a long history. My father's an engineer, and his first job when he first came to the U.S. in the 70s was he landed in Rapola. And then from there, I was exposed to the entertainment world since I was little, from the Pac-Mans to the Atari to the Mario Brothers. And as I started growing up, and even though I branched out to college and everything else, and in my career in corporate and whatnot, I always saw that side of the business of that my dad was creating, and we were somehow or another involved in one way or another. But those machines I've always been drawn to, because at the end of the day, I'm a gamer, like not like a gamer of like gambling, but I like video games. I find that so intriguing, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And so the more I started seeing the shift with these slot machines, I said to myself, oh my gosh, something so beautiful is becoming so ugly, that I said, if and when I was ready, because I always had an idea what I wanted to do, but I wasn't ready yet. And I always think it's sometimes the right timing. It's not luck per se, but sometimes life gets in the way, right? If you have a family, it might just not be the right time at that moment. But that doesn't mean you can't start at any point. I always tell my kids, you know what, you had a bad day, restart it. So you know what, just take 2 seconds and say, you know what, I just restarted my day. And that's it. So that's kind of where it kind of led to where that nerdy side of me, that experience that I saw from my dad, that, you know, I just thought it was normal to have a business, to be honest. Like, I just thought it was like a normal thing. But then we were so nerdy that we liked college, and all, you know, my siblings went and we did, and we just liked it. But I think it really drawn to it. And one of the things I have to say that, um, one of the drives that I have to say is I had an experience in a job where I was let go for X reasons, unbeknown to me. And that moment is what triggered me as a person, because I always worked on salary and everything else. But the fact that 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 happened, that moment, that triggered something in me, and saying that I was never ever gonna let anybody decide if I was gonna have money today and tomorrow I have nothing.
Mm.
I wanted to be in control of my own money coming in. That meant what? If I worked hard enough, guess what? That was what I was going to get. And that's what happens in when you become an entrepreneur, or, you know, anything. It's like you're your own boss. And at that moment in time, I said, that's it. So I knew that. So that drive, whenever you start a business, at least I think, is something has to trigger where you say, take the biggest risks and say, and it's worth it, and say, you know what? I'm going to be my own boss no matter what. Nobody's going to, nobody's going to decide what route's going to be. I'm going to lead it. And I think that helped me do what I wanted to do in the gaming industry. And I'm doing it. And I have to say, with the collaboration of other people, and I always say you can start a business, and I've seen it, that you can do it alone, but you always need collaboration. And that's kind of something that I have been invoking here and with my staff, that it's the only way, especially right now with the pandemic, with COVID, or whatever the case may be. It can be anything in life history that's going to impact economy, right? And you have to know how to pivot, 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 pivot. And you have to be able, when you do pivot, guess what? You need partnerships. You need good people around that are willing to do that. Right now in business, a lot of people are, I'm not saying that they're not doing well. They are. They might be surviving right now. But some people are just stuck and stubborn in a way. And sometimes right now, this is a time where you have to kind of really think outside the box. So,
I love it. I mean,
yeah.
you know, pivoting has been a big thing the last year, right? We're in
Yes.
2021, February 13th, the day
Mm-hmm.
before Valentine's Day. You know, Ashley's Ashley's Cafe and Tap. You know,
Yeah.
so bring us back a little bit. You know, obviously you've had the experience of growing up with the parents in business, but
Yeah.
then all your siblings, you guys all got really educated. But then
Mm-hmm.
you almost all went back to business, right? And especially you, I know personally, because you're specifically in my specific age group.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen you go through different businesses. So give the audience a little bit about, you know, what you were thinking, having all this experience, and what Ashley's Cafe and Tap means now to you at this moment, and how you started.
Well, I have to say, definitely, it was not easy by no means. And um, I really think outside the box, and I vision something. It's crazy, but I vision it. And it's very hard to explain to people your vision, but um, I just really had to just push through it and convince people along the way. But Ashley's Cafe and Tap is somewhere where you can come in and have an experience of either being in a like casino setting, or being in a tavern setting, or being in a wine setting, or now we have our partnership with Wake and Bakery, which phenomenal, Delta, or you can have the high experience, you know, through hemp, because people didn't even know that this product existed. And that's what I'm saying. It's like such great stuff that's going on. And then it all came to me at one point. Why not bring Chicago into the suburbs? That's why I partnered up with Dark Matter. You know, they're popping up cafes everywhere in the city. Do right donuts. Hey, a lot of times your kids go and you're like, oh, take the whole drive all the way to Chicago just to get that donut. Well, guess what? You don't have to go. I want to. I want to put them in the suburbs, but all under one. And then what do we have? Alliance Bakery in Wicker Park. Come on. You can't even find parking. So I said, why not bring it? It's a French pastry that has like 100 years of history. Why not bring that? And guess what? That like speakeasy feel that every day. I grew up on the North Shore, then I moved up to the Northwest, then I went to Loyola, and I would pass by Broadway and see Green Mills. That's why it's Ashley the Green, because it's like that's what I saw, and that's what I want to see every day when I come in. Because if you're not doing something that you're passionate or you love it, do something else.
Yeah.
That's when the pivot goes. Ashley's my daughter. And so when people's like, you're Ashley, I'm like, you know what? I made her. It doesn't matter. Call me whatever. But that's my daughter, and I honest to God did not pick the name. My sister picked Ashley's name, but my neighbor Ike, I gotta give her credit. I was like, Ike, I don't know what to put this. Like, I have this idea, but it's all about the name. It's like I just couldn't. And she's like 80 years old. I mean, she's phenomenal. She was a bartender up until like I think 5 years ago. Okay,
Wow.
in Boys Town. Just that's all I gotta take.
Yeah.
So she said, French, because French, that's what they call me, nickname French. It's like, French, why don't you just use Ashley? God damn it, you got a girl's name. You see Stella's, Betty's, all these, different names. Just use Ashley. And I'm like, duh. It was
Yeah.
a no-brainer. And it clicked. So that was just like that. And like I said, little collaborations here and there, but willing to. But if you're stubborn about it, you're like, well, I don't think so. Then if you get in that mode, forget about it. Creativity in a business is a must. And that is where you lead into the marketing and everything else, because if you don't have that creative side as well, then find somebody that does, that has the same kind of vision that you do, and use that, because nowadays everything is visual. You want to have an experience, social media. You want to see people eat. You want to, all this stuff, despite the pandemic that's going on. It's just where the business is going in anything. It's the two collaboration, the business and yeah, how can I tell you? It's the business part of it. What is it? The licensing part of it, but it's also the creative, and that is where I curate art now. You know what I mean? It was something that I wanted to put in there. So I said, it's all these creativeness together, all in one. Why can't we have all in one? And plus, I get bored a lot. So I said, if I'm going to own something, I have to do right, exactly. But not too much, not to the point where it's too much. A little goes a long way. So it's like, for me, it's like when we said, okay, you know what? Beer, I don't want to give canned beers. Let's do beer on tap. Okay, selection. Listen, I like threes. I don't know why, but threes are good. It's more than one. Two is not enough. Three's just right. That's my say, So, hey, let's get three beers, whatever selection. The wine, we'll rotate it every three, French this time, whatever, 3-3.
Love
So
it.
I should
I
play
love
3-3-3, right? So instead of 7-7-7, it should be 3-3.
333, right? So
Yeah.
really, really cool. I mean, obviously you brought us to the point where, you put this creative idea, you start thinking about it. I mean, you've had other businesses, you're kind of even getting Ike's input, right? Your 80-year-old
exactly.
neighbor, and she kind of drops the bomb on you that you already have it in front of you of what the name could be. So
Correct.
So walk us through what it really takes to open up a retail place, and especially in the gaming side of things. If someone's listening to this, give us maybe like another few minutes of, hey, here's what I needed to do first. Like I needed to get permits. I needed to do this. I even saw some of the things that you did of the build out of the location that you put on social media. And it was such a cool journey. You actually invited us in as you were preparing the place. And then before you launched, I saw even some of the empanadas and all the stuff, the cool pictures. So tell us a little bit about what it took to really kind of understood how to get to that grand opening.
Yeah. So once you get past the idea, now it's physical work, right? So let me just tell you, and I'm just gonna sum it up, but I'm very organized, right? I'm gonna show you, and in business you have to be. Sorry. see this? This I call the
Look at
Bible.
you.
This is all of Francis, how everything to do with Ashley's Cafe, what it took, and everything else. So what I have to say is, it's not
Sell
easy.
that manual.
All those years in regulatory, definitely. Yeah, this is the Bible. This is the Bible for
Woo.
Ashley's. How my first pitch to the village. You know how I was gonna do it.
Wow.
I put an outline. This is a nerdy side of me. I started with the outline and I marked it box by box by box. So in business, it depends on what your business is. You know, you have to first, number one rule. You're going into business, you need two things. Two things. You need a good accountant and a great lawyer. Two. You don't go into business with either, or you cannot afford it, don't start it yet. Start it, because those are the two guidance. Because if you're not strong, let's just say somebody that is not knowledgeable, has never worked in compliance or regulatory, it's lingo that honestly it goes right over us. Just like if a document and for lawyers and stuff, like that lingo talk goes right over me. I'm not going to go and study become a lawyer just to understand it, right? So that's why you need a good accountant, because sometimes people are not good with numbers and you think you are, but in business, when you're about to invest and you're going to put, and a business is not free, right? So you need those two things and a budget.
I love
Got
it.
a budget, an accountant, a good accountant, and a good lawyer. Then everything can become easy peasy and put it all together.
That's amazing. You know, you're the first person on my channel that that really has shared a total book. I mean, what a great reference. I could think of courses that you could take just to learn that piece. Wow, that's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that. You know, one thing I love the CPA, the attorney. You know, I'll add, even just in my own humble opinion, a great banker, right? Understanding kind of how to get that capital and the things to do. And that's obviously what I do beyond this passion project of Go for CEO on the banking side and lending and all that stuff. But, you know, what an amazing journey. You know, now you're, walk us through, like, now you're at grand opening. I mean, did you also, through this book, this manual that you have, I guess you got the certificates, you got the planning, you got, the build out. Maybe we can kind of fast forward a little bit. You get to grand opening. Did you have just family start out with you? Did you have people employed? And what were some of the marketing tactics that you also used to kind of get to grand opening?
I think definitely, we started off with employees, and that was, I think, for us the hardest, because we've always had a family business. So we were stepping out of our comfort zone, at least for me. And so I really couldn't ask for advice from anybody, because family wise, it's always everybody that's had a family business in our family is just family. So I think we started with employees, and marketing, that was another thing. Marketing was very difficult, because we said, well, how do we go about it? Now, mind you, this is all during the pandemic, right? So it was very difficult decisions up and down for me to decide, do I move forward? Book or no book, licensing or licensing, if something out of the norm happens, you really have to be prepared to say, like, you know what, do I go on, or do I know when to call it quits? When to know to call it quits, and that's it. But that doesn't mean, again, that you can't start something new. So, but for us, it was we promoted the village of Elmwood Park. Definitely did help us in that. They have like a really good system where you join this chambers of commerce, and it helps out, like, them promote. So that definitely helped. Then definitely word of mouth. And this is where, definitely my parents, background and the relationships they had, they're supportive. Friends, in the beginning, like I'm really big in scouting, that, so Mrs. T in scouting, the scout family, super supportive. Friends, so in the neighborhood, curious. So that kind of was like the social, not the social media, the local media type, Then it was like, okay, now, of course they're going to come, right? And of course we're going to be like, oh, now what? So that's just when we're like, hey, we need to hit every social platform there is, because that's where we're at. To deny that we are not, for a business to deny we're not, it's like you're killing your business right there. So like for you, like your business, you're doing it. It's something that's just what it is. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like I said, sharing with the audience, I know your Facebook was blowing up, the Instagram, you were putting stuff on,
Mhm.
and as you got started, right? So you mentioned a little bit, let's go back to, I caught on a couple things I want to go back to too, is that vendor network, right? In retail, especially when you have kind of a cafe tap or some sort of retail establishment, you can have different SKUs if you have products and all these types of things. Uh, how did you mastermind some of those relationships? Were they already existing relationships that you had before, or did you go out and
All
just
new.
make those relationships?
It was all new.
Okay.
Totally new. Like I said, it was totally a different monster because, and I kind of knew going in that there was certain things that I had to learn on the fly very quick and very fast. The gaming industry, I could do. The licensing and everything else, I could do.
Hmm.
What you said, the retail, that was the hardest, I have to say, because everything was new. You don't, there's not a, how can I tell you? We didn't have like relationships prior, so now you have to make new ones and then decide, hey, the product that you're getting, is it the product you really want or not? And it goes from all the way from a napkin to our roasted beans. And that way, I have to say, partnering up with the different partnerships that I have with the coffee and stuff, and not having, we do not have a kitchen here.
Mm.
Empanadas are made in an offsite kitchen, and that was made specifically because I wanted a good aesthetic look, because we did not know if we were going to do the empanadas, and by the way, I'm the one that does them. you know so for me, it was something that, we wanted to open a cafe with something, but we didn't know with what. And I said, well, empanadas, of course. So, and unbeknown to us, it just kind of hit, and it's great. That was not even planned. The cafe con leche right here that you see here was not planned. It's our biggest selling, where now we've co-branded, and this goes to marketing, where this is Wake and Bake Bakery, and then our logo that, by the way, I haven't given him credit because honestly, I've been waiting for the right moment to give it to him. His name is John Gallagher. Okay. And he's a scout dad. He's an Eagle Scout and exceptional. Where, and this is where it goes. He consults, does a marketing, right? He has his own firm. So my thing is, when I asked him, hey, as a friend, like, I know you do this. Like, do you think you can help me out? And he did it. And then he said, Francis, what do you think? And I said, wow, that's really nice. This is prior, right? This is marketing. And I said, well, what do I owe you? Nothing. I said, what do you mean nothing? He goes, absolutely nothing. He goes, you know, do the leadership for the scouts and stuff like that. That gratitude from him meant the world. Honest to God.
Definitely.
Those type of relationships are needed throughout a business, because it motivates you, it humbles you, and that's what you need. Like, certain people that partnerships, and certain people that are just kind along the way, because you need it, you know. And like I said, yeah, that was not in the books. The café con leche was not in the books. The the empanadas was not in the book for the gambling, changing my vision of changing the the gambling. It just happened. And this logo, guess what? It's going to be known as like the Starbucks of the gaming industry. You're going to see that 10 years from now and be like, oh, that's Ashley's. Yeah, go over there and, have the greatest experience. Like, you're going to feel like you're in Little Vegas or whatever. But also, guess what? You have all these brands under one roof. And on top of that, you can have pop-ups, and you can have stuff like this, and you can come and curate art. And you know what? We can start a book club, and you know what? You can have Bible class on a Sunday here, watch a movie, do volunteer, do some fun. It's endless. And that's what I wanted. An ever-changing cafe where at the end of the day, you can come with your family, sit down, and if you feel like standing up and grabbing a beer from, Maplewood, you know what I mean? And then walking over to the 21 and over entertainment room for adults, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not, you know, like these cafes that, they found the loophole to, to create this and making those machines look ugly. They're beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, I
that's
love it.
my thing.
So look, you've got products, you've got things that you've developed. You created a logo and a branding behind it. You've been open for what, 9 months, right, or so?
No, we opened up October.
Oh, okay. So October. So it's been only about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So, look, that's, part of marketing, part of branding, part of, development and
Yeah.
all that stuff. You had build out that you had to do. I know that you showed some of that journey on
Yep.
online. So tell us a little bit about just the employee side, right? What has been kind of the hardest determination, especially since you went from family employees, right? And kind of a collective in all the businesses that you've had before with family and the entertainment and the daycare business. I know that personally, I know of things that you've done, but now you hire people that are outside of your,
Yes.
hemisphere. Did the playbook that you have there, did it share with you ways to interview? Did you have to have a certain type of person that you're looking for? Tell us a little bit about
Yes,
how
yes
you're
and no.
entrusting that.
Yeah, so yes and no. So the way I took it was whenever I start something, I look, okay, what topic does it fall under? That's how my mind works. Okay, where does it fall under? So of course it falls under HR, right? So
Mhm.
never done HR. So guess what? I had to research it. Why? Because I didn't want to be that boss. I didn't want to be a bad boss, nor did I want to be just like too good of a boss either, because I can, like, where's the line? Where is it where you draw it where, it's employee and now you're the owner without getting too friendly? Where are those steps, right? That's where HR falls, right? So that I had to learn along the way. So along the way of doing all this stuff. So but let me just backtrack really quick. If you have a family, just sit down before you start a journey like this and just make it very clear. Buy them the or make them the best dinner and say, hey, you guys are going to have to be patient a little bit. And we're in this for about 6 or 8 months. Okay. Give them a time frame. Even though you're probably lying, just give them a time frame, you know? But, anyways, going back to what I was saying is that it's a responsibility now, right, with employees, right? Because guess what? There's laws involved. This is where businesses sometimes, fail too, because you can have something pretty and then you don't have a strong HR. And then guess what happens? Something happens and then you can lose it all, right? But most importantly, you want to be safe. You ask my employees, one of the things I tell them is um, one, safety first. Safety first all the time, no matter what. Like I said, if there's an incident around that happened, safety trumps everything. Hey, we need to close doors right now for one of my employees. I will do it, and they know that because that's just how I am. I will never put money over a person, and that's basically why you need to have a really strong and knowledgeable or research. Or again, there's tons of companies now that I think you can do that you can hire to do like the HR and stuff. I the overachiever part of me said, yeah, I can do this. And I've been doing it. I gradually have been doing it. But I think down the line, as we get bigger, guess what? I won't be able to do this. And I'm going to have to reach out to companies. And that's where you have to know as an owner when to let go and give the baton to somebody else. But if you keep on, you want this and you want that, it's called compromise. You're going to have to let it go if you want to be successful and if you want to grow. Because this is one of 5 cafes that I'm going to open.
Mm.
So this one is like the testing one. What we're going to have, what works, what doesn't work, and hey, this vendor might come in and do all that stuff. But with that being said, with the employees, I have to kind of now start looking. Once we open the second one, hey, I might need to start looking for a company outside to kind of manage it. But I think when you do heckle or work with employees, it is difficult to where do you draw the line, right? Um, like you can't be too nice and you don't. And so what I what I thought, I'm like, wait, I need to make one of these employees my manager so then I can have an in between,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then it's kind of like, okay, I'm busy. Hey, go to your manager with them delegate, correct? So it's kind of like you learn little by little that if it starts getting overwhelming, guess what? You cut the pie a little bit more. This goes to your budget. You reallocate. Say, you know what? Maybe I'll cut the pie a little bit more. You know, hire hire a manager or whatever, and give yourself a little break. And that's kind of like I think how in the industries when smaller companies start growing, I think it starts off. I don't think any company starts off unless it's like an enterprise, that they already come like, department. I think pretty much, at least that's how I think it escalates up when you start trying franchise and trying all this stuff because
Sure, sure.
you're learning along the way, kind of
Yeah.
on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting, right? I mean, having seen your father kind of grow his business
Right.
internally and all the things and the departments and trying to grow, and then you started your daycare and all that stuff. So it's interesting to kind of hear your story on the retail side, and especially the employee side, and how you create that culture of employees. And Ashley's Cafe and Tap is going to have a culture that people are going to want to attract to be like, oh, I want to work there. It's such a cool environment, and yeah, I gotta love the experience that you're putting there. Is there's an eating experience, there's a drinking experience, there's a creative
Exactly.
experience, there's an imaginary experience, there's a gaming experience. It's like this really cool eclectic place. So tell us a little bit about as we kind of get to the end of our interview here. A lot of the times we love to hear about, hey, the journey that you've gone through, what you're actually doing. So give us a day to day of what you as a CEO are going through in this retail store and the retail place that you're running.
Right now, the day to day right now is definitely marketing, marketing and pushing through. I think that's the number one thing. So that's the first thing I focus on. And how do I bring in traffic?
Mm,
Who's watching us? Because we're the new kid on the block, right? They don't know us. I think that right now, as a CEO right now, currently, as we're building it, I think you always have to be right. That's the number one thing. Marketing comes first. Because if you're already there, that means you got good product already. So it is what it is, right? So if you know you got good product, how are people going to know, right? You got to market yourself. So I think that as a CEO, that's where my head is always. So always thinking, ideas, and how to convert those ideas into traffic, into just moving my business forward. And the more people see us, the more traction we get, the more things are going to be changing. And that's where it ends as, you know what, with collaboration and stuff, I can get to being that game changer that I want to be. But it starts definitely with social media, with the marketing for sure.
Are there
You have
any
to have a strong marketing.
campaigns?
Huh?
Sorry to cut you off there, but are there any campaigns that you've been running initially the first 90 to 120 days, as
Like
far
campaigns
as
like what?
loss leaders? Is there anything that you kind of say, hey, if you come in, we'll give you this, or maybe I don't know if I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
it for sure, like if there was a dessert with like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
anything like that.
absolutely. So here, I always, in the beginning, people didn't know what empanadas were. Come on, let's
Yeah.
be for real. So yes, and this goes back to the budget. You have to have a budget. Remember, I said that the key things, and one of them is budget. You have to have a budget. And my budget was giveaways. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, you have to have a budget for giveaways. So if not, it's kind of like now you're taking right from what the profits are. So it's you have to have a giveaway, especially if you're introducing a new product. And for us, yeah, it was like, hey, come for a coffee because our partnerships are well known in the city, right? So we're just kind of bringing Chicago into the suburbs, right? So they already know what it is. So now we got to push stuff that they don't know, which is empanadas. So yeah, we had like where they would come in with the coffee and would say, well, have you tried one of the empanadas? You know, oh, what is that? And then you're saying, oh my gosh, you don't know. And I for me, I get more excited when they do, because then I'm like, you got to try it, you know. So there you go. So there is a lot of trying. Um, uh, let's just say in anything, you know, like you have to have that giveaway budget. Like for instance, baristas. I mean, I have different levels of baristas. Why? If you come here, John, I cannot fix you an espresso. I cannot do you a latte. I can serve you a café con leche, probably the lemonades, definitely, and I can serve you the empanadas. But do not ask me for anything else, because I'm not a barista. Those
Yeah.
baristas are excellent. It's a skill. That's why I have hired them. And that's another thing too. When you hire employees, hire them with what you are trying to give out, you know, push out your product. If the product is good, then get the skilled employee that will push out your product even better, you know. But anyhow, so yeah, there's a lot of promotions that we gave out. Let's just say there's different levels of baristas, and the baristas, I have them test out product cost too. You have to have product loss. So it's kind of like, hey, they got to practice. They can't just on one latte be like, oh, look, I just did a beautiful heart. Guess what? Not. There's times where, hey, there's so much coffee. I can't drink no more coffee. I can't, you know, you know, give them out to the customers. You're trying out. Hey, we just tried one. Would you like one? So kind of like, there's a lot of things a lot of giveaways you have to, in the very beginning, do in business. And you have to have that budget for that.
I love it. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're putting together really just not the business plan that you put together, the marketing behind it, the operations, the employees, kind of sharing the story of it. And I love that you're actually, 5 months, because one of the things that we do at the Go for CEO channel is in 6 to 12 months, we're going to reconnect with you and find out where Ashley's Cafe and Tap is, at that point. So
Don't even tell me. I'm like, I'm already thinking. Now you just motivated. See, now it's like a challenge. That's a
that's right.
competitor in me. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, and you're like, let's just say you're like, oh, there's a race for me. Forget about it. That's now you got me. So
That's
now it's
awesome.
like from a year from now, yeah, 6 months will probably be another one.
Well, there you go. So that, the key is that we want to really build a tribe, and that's,
Yeah.
even if it's locally or if you do stuff online, we'll try to build a tribe about, hey, who's following Ashley's Cafe and Tap? Hey, she's coming up in September of 2021, and what are they doing and all that type of stuff. So really cool stuff. I love the time that you've been able to give us here. And I know that you rushed back to kind of do the interview kind of impromptu today.
John, you are lucky you got me. That's all I got to say. And I would stop anything for you.
I know. I appreciate it. That's what relationships and friendships. And even if we don't talk for 3 months, it's like we talked yesterday. So
Exactly.
I love that opportunity. So look,
Familia forever.
what's that?
I said familia forever, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Familia, so, hey, we like to end our interviews with really what CEO is about for the Go for CEO channel, especially in business, which is client experience. I'm sorry. Yeah. Client experience. I'm forgetting my own stuff. Employee engagement, and then operational excellence. So when you think about just like the value proposition of Ashley's Cafe and Tap, what do they bring to the table? What do you bring to the table as far as client experience for, let's say, 30 seconds?
I have to say, if you come into Ash's Cafe, you will definitely get a very unique experience that's nowhere out there right now. I'm literally the first one. So come in and have the first experience. 10 years from now, you can say, hey, I went to the first Ashley's Cafe and Tap gaming cafe. Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. So, and you kind of gave us a little bit of this ride and kind of the mindset behind it, but give us a little bit of also, I guess, how the culture and things that you've been able to already develop in the first few months with employee engagement.
Collaboration. I definitely, I embrace all their hidden talents. When I interview them, I ask them, do you have a talent? And I will help them push through to partner up with our partners as well. And see, that's why I've created Ladies Night, and it's babe bosses. They come in, we collaborate with one another, and yeah. So anybody that works here knows. Like Maggie, for instance, she started with the art, and I said, you know what? you're so talented. Some people just need that motivation. Like I don't need that motivation. Like I pat myself, but sometimes people just
They need it.
they just
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And guess what? I enjoy seeing other people thrive in business. Is it adrenaline rush? Probably. I get super excited. And like I love connecting. Like I'll say like, oh, art. So if you come, the collaboration here in Ashley's Cafe and Tap is that if you have a hidden talent and you would like to turn that into a business, I will 100% help you in any way I can.
Wow. So what she just
Mhm.
said there, ladies and gentlemen, is inside of her company, she's creating intrapreneurs, right? And then
You got
also
it.
and collaboration. What a cool little nugget there. That was kind of I got to get sound effects to do dropping bombs there. So, all right. So the last one, operational excellence. What's the difference maker at Ashley's Cafe and Tap? Why do you guys why are you guys above and beyond the best at operational excellence? Beyond the fact that I should just show people the book, right? So,
Right? You know what? I think it's because everybody that works here, believe it or not, as creative as we are, we're super overachievers. And that's kind of where we're at, that in operations and in products, we're always going to pick up the very best of the best. And we're always looking out for the customer. Like I will not push out something that I don't feel that is adequate out. So I think definitely, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I love it. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
So look, hey, thank you so much for just kind of, being what a CEO entrepreneur is, right? Is on the spot, making a decision. You took action. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
let me get on this channel. I know that we've been thinking about it, and we
Yeah.
finally did it. So awesome
Yeah.
stuff. So, hey, what is a way that people can find you online? What is your address? What's your phone number? Let's tell people how to get a hold of this first innovative way of gaming cafe and tap from Ashley's Cafe and Tap.
Okay. Well, for sure, be ready and heck, be ready to have like the most unique experience ever. Number one. Okay. Number two, we're on Facebook under Ashley's Cafe and Tap. We're on Instagram as well, Twitter, all social, TikTok as well. So any TikTokers, you're more than welcome to come out here. There's a lot of comping going on in this place. Definitely, I feel like Vegas sometimes when I'm comping. But if you're doing something, that's going to push my business, I'll comp you and I'll push yours. It's kind of like that collaboration.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're at 7500 West Grant Avenue in Elmwood Park. We're 60707. Sorry, that's the Chicago side of me. But we're literally right on Grand and Harlem. Literally like 2 minutes away from the Chicago side, Northwest Chicago. And we're like, it's just a great location, honestly. And you can reach us at Ashley's Cafe. No, wait. Sorry. I'm sorry. My mind works quicker than my mouth. I don't even know if that's possible, but it is.
That's
So,
all right.
www.ashleyscafeandtap.com, or you can email us at info@ashleyscafeandtap.com. There you go.
Awesome. Awesome. And how about a phone number? Do you have a phone number or
Yes, somewhere in this. I don't have it memorized.
no?
And
Or
yes,
no?
I'm putting on reading glasses, by the way. I'm 43 years old. And right before the interview, we're discussing this. This is off topic.
That's right.
but you know what? Embrace getting older. That's what I say.
You're just getting started. You're gonna get
Yeah, look, but I
15,
have
20
to
of them.
make it, I'm very okay. At the end of the day, I'm still a little vain. So I have to make it look a little cheeky with the things.
That's all right.
Okay, so you can reach us at 708-395-5043. Ashley's Cafe and Tap in Elmwood Park, Illinois.
Well, if I know Ashley's Cafe and Tap, if I know the CEO here, Francis, this place will be not only in Illinois, which if you're visiting Illinois, go for CEO community, come out and visit this right off the edge of Chicagoland, proper to the suburb of Elmwood Park. As she just said, go back to all the info. We'll put in the description as well. But Francis, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on.
No,
In
not a
6
problem.
months, the motivation is that we want to find out where the heck is Ashley's Cafe and Tap next. So probably in like July, September, somewhere around that time, we'll have you back on for the second episode, and welcome back Ashley's Cafe and Tap. So thank you so much.
Thank you.